Okay, I think that's my cue to start. Now, if Russ is there, I don't know if he can do this right now, but Russ, can you confirm that everything's working great? You can see me, you can hear me, all that good stuff?
All good. You're good to go.
Okay, sweet. Hey, guys, it's so good to be with you today, and to be able to spend a few minutes with you today and share Morning Ascent together. I'm really excited that you're here and that I'm here, and I'm ready to rock and roll today. You might be saying to yourself, why is this guy in his basement still in his suit coat? I'll talk more about that later, but it's part of my uniform, gang. This is what I do. Listen, I've written up on the board something that is so familiar to all of us, but it is the foundation of real estate. And it is what we talk so much about, beginning with the purpose and the why and the vision, having a business plan and a schedule, discipline and accountability, mindset, skill set, and then, of course, systems and strategies. And today, I basically have three quick things that I want to talk to you guys about that have been going around in my head like crazy over the last couple of weeks. And I've had the great privilege of speaking one-on-one with so many agents over the last couple of weeks. And it's been really, truly a blessing in some ways to be able to connect with so many people over this time. But also, it's been enlightening to listen to some of the struggles that are going on that have nothing to do with coronavirus. And just hope everyone knows that you're not forgotten while we're focused on all of this other stuff, and that you are loved and appreciated by your Century 21 Everest family and anyone else participating for sure as well. So three things today that I want to share with you and three messages. So let me give you one. I brought a prop. Number one, it's a book. Anybody read this book? Living with a Seal. This book is written by a guy named Jesse Itzler. Jesse Itzler is extremely successful. He's an entrepreneur, and he's kind of has this reputation for doing crazy things too, sometimes out of the box. And the quick story, and you can read this book, although there's some language in there I have to warn you about. Nothing different than spending an afternoon with Russ Orchard, though. Just kidding, Russ. So, Living with a Seal. The story goes on that book that he sees this guy that's running in this race. That's like a 4-person race, and one guy's all by himself doing it on his own. He's intrigued by this guy, and he goes up and speaks to him, and he basically throws this offer to him, says, hey, will you come live with me for 30 days and come and train me? We don't know this from the book. They just call him the SEAL. So he asks the SEAL, will you come? And because he's a Navy SEAL, if you hadn't picked up on that, he's a Navy SEAL, and he invites him to come live with him for 30 days and train him, show him what he does to get trained. And this guy, his name's David Goggins, but the SEAL, he says, I will come under one condition, and that is you do everything I tell you to do for 30 days. Guy says, great, I'll do it. So first day, the guy shows up to the house. Jesse Itzler says, hey, I've got some nerves about this. As you can imagine, when any house guest that you don't know is coming to stay with you, or any meeting you're about to have, those kind of initial nerves that you might get, says he was feeling them. The guy comes through the door, shows him his room, and immediately the SEAL says, where's the gym? So Jesse's thinking, hey, this is going to be, I'm going to show him around a little bit. We're going to get comfortable, have a nice dinner, enjoy the evening, and get to work tomorrow. They head down to the gym, and Jesse shows the SEAL around the gym, and the SEAL looks at the pull-up bar, and he says, hey, how many pull-ups can you do? Jesse's like, I don't know, maybe 8, maybe 10. He's like, do it for me. And so Jesse gets up there, says he does his 8 or 9 pull-ups or whatever, kind of struggling at the end to pull himself up. We've all been there. And then he says, great, good job. Now I want you to do 100. Think about for a second being in that moment. And Jesse Itzler's like, yeah, I can't do 100. You just saw me swinging on the bar practically, trying to get up to do my 8th and 9th ones. I cannot do 100. So the SEAL gets in his face and aggressively is saying, You told me if I came, you'd do everything I told you you needed to do. You do everything I asked you to do. Do 100. Figure out the way to get it done. So Jesse Itzler gets back up there, says he does another 7 or 8 or 9 and has to stop. Gets back up, does another few more, has to stop. Guys, eventually Jesse goes on to do like 1 or 2 or 3 pull-ups at a time, and then has to walk around the gym for 5 or 10 minutes to loosen up his muscles and his back and his arms and chest in order to do another pull-up. But here's what's interesting, and I should have the exact amount of time, but something like 2.5 or 3.5 hours later, Jesse had done 100 pull-ups. Something he had said just a few hours earlier was impossible to do. I can't do 100 pull-ups. But the guy told him he had to, and so he figured out the way to get it done. I love this story, and the reason I love it is because it screams of many principles, but the one that I want to take today that I think is so applicable to what every one of us are experiencing right now is the idea that you can do more than you think you can. You can do more. And what was it that even allowed Jesse Itzler? What were the principles behind the ability to get that done? Well, number one, he had the proper tools, right? He had the gym, he had the pull-up bar, he was able to get it done. Okay, he had the ability to stand there and pull himself up. Number two, he had the accountability and the discipline in place. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. He couldn't have done it if he didn't have that. He would have said to somebody no. He wouldn't have even had to think and get creative. Think about this for a moment. Had he not had accountability and discipline in place, it would have been impossible for him to get creative and figure out the way to accomplish what he said he would accomplish. Have you ever had anything like that in your life? Have you ever had a moment where you've said to yourself, well, it's impossible for me to get that done, or I can't get that done? And then all of a sudden you figure out a way. Agents, this is such an important tactic. I'm actually reminded right now as I'm speaking of early on in my career when I was struggling and trying to figure out a way to get the job done. And whether it was an accountability for the certain number of transactions that I had to complete, number one would be a certain number of contacts I had to meet each day. And it's a cold, snowy night. I remember going through drive-through windows or into a store or whatever it might be to get in front of people and ask them, do you have any needs in the real estate world right now? In order to do what I said I would do, I had to figure it out, or out knocking doors in the snow. Or I'm reminded of this experience I had once, which was one of the coolest of my whole career, was being, driving down the road, and between me and this neighborhood was a little canal, and looking across and seeing someone pull over in a rainy day, pull over and take a take one flyer out of somebody's, just a flyer box on a listing for sale. I told Dave Parker, who was with me in the car, stop the car. He pulled over. I got out of the car, ran down through this hill, through this canal, which was dry at the moment, thank goodness, and hopped over to these people who probably thought I was bananas. But I got in front of them and said, hey, I noticed that you were taking a flyer out of that. Because I had accountability in place to accomplish certain things. I got creative to do something I normally would never do, run down somebody in their car. But I found them, spoke to them, they followed me to my office, and I kid you not, they closed on a house in about 35 days. I got creative because I knew I had some stuff to accomplish, and I had some discipline and accountability helping me accomplish that. And then, of course, third thing is he took action. He stuck with it, did what he needed to do. So that's story number one, guys. If you haven't read that book, it's one that would be on my list of saying you've got to check it out. It is funny, but there's a lot of great principles, and it's well written. So take a look at that, but just remember, you can do more than you think you can. You can do hard things. Get creative and figure it out. Okay, thought number 2, as we're working through this. Again, I've got the foundation pulled up here. I've thought a lot about throughout this whole thing going on, and we all are in different situations. Some people are stuck staying at home literally nonstop. Some people are self-quarantined, going out sometimes. I know California's got a different rule than Utah has right now. Look, we're all experiencing different situations right now. But what I believe is so critical to your success over this time is the ability to have some standards in place to help you along your path. I talked about discipline and accountability, having a business plan and a schedule. Think about for a moment how critical these elements are into your daily life. Think about this word for a second, standards. What is a standard to you? If you have a pen and a paper out and you're hanging out at home, write that down for a second. What is your definition, or what is my definition of a standard? And then second, I would write down, what are some of the standards in my life? Think about that. What are some of the standards that you're living in your life? I'll give you a couple of fun examples that you can think about that show that we all typically have some standards. So, number 1, have you ever been, let's say you've gone camping, woke up late, you're run out of toothpaste, whatever it might be, but have you ever had that moment where you didn't get to brush your teeth? Every one of us have experienced that at some level or another, right? You just had that day or that moment and you couldn't get it, you didn't do it in time, you forgot, you were rushing, toothpaste is gone, whatever it might be, right? Or you're on vacation or something. How do you feel throughout that day until you've had a moment to either eat something or brush your teeth or whatever? How do you feel? Generally, you don't feel yourself. You feel kind of gross, or I like to use the word icky. It just sticks with you until, or another good example is if you've ever gone to the gym or been outside walking and, for us agents, sometimes out in the hot sun looking at a new construction development, and you're outside and it's hot, you get sweaty, and you're in your suit or your nice dress clothes or whatever, and you just feel sweaty and gross, or you wake up and don't have time to shower, and you get your clothes on, and you head to the office, whatever it may be. We've all been there, right? You feel again a little bit icky. You feel gross. And the reason why is because of your standards. Now, kind of a sad story with this that I've thought about over the years, but not long ago, I was, it's been a while actually, but I was driving downtown in Salt Lake City, and I saw a gentleman there who appeared to be homeless, and I took a look at his clothes, basically the personal hygiene of it, and I'm not commenting on anything other than what I just experienced. I'm not being down on him or anything. It was remarkable when I looked at what he was wearing, the condition of his clothes, his personal hygiene, and he looked like he had all the confidence in the world and was so comfortable in his skin. And I looked at that and thought, how is that possible? If you put those clothes on me right now, I would feel horrible and gross and all of this stuff, right? Think about this. And it's because of his standards. He had become comfortable with his current standards, which allowed him to behave a certain way. Guys, we all have standards in our lives that we're living, that we're experiencing, that we're facing. My challenge to you today, as you sit here and are trying to figure out at some moments what you should be spending your time doing, not only create some daily standards, but number 2, elevate your standards. Elevate the standards by which you live your life. George has been talking a lot about it, so I won't hit a lot of it right this second. but living a life with intention. John C. Maxwell has a great book that talks about the ways in which you should live an intentional life. Living an intentional life with your personal growth. Living a personal life with the way in which you handle your finances. Think about the areas and the ways, every avenue that's out there. You could live your life with some intention behind it. And my belief is that it's your personal daily standards, the standards in your life that are going to propel or be the launching pad for the results that you get. And so as we work through this time right now, every agent must have some type of standard for communication. What does that mean? In my opinion, it should mean that you have a standard, a daily standard, whereby you are communicating with others, people you've never spoken with before, your sphere of influence, whoever and whatever it may be. You must have a standard for communicating with people. Over the years, I've done things where I've said, I'm going to talk to 15 people a day, 30 people a day. I think one time I did 50 in a day. And I know some of you out there have done way more than that. But that's just giving you the idea of some of the stuff that I've done over the years. Or you can talk about my minimum standard for how many appointments I'm going to set today. I'm telling you right now, when you focus on appointment setting, how many appointments will I set? Your calls are more effective. Your calls are more purposeful and intentional. Think about what I just said. When you have an intention out there to set and attend an appointment, the actions that I'm taking, the phone calls, are more effective. They're better because of my intention. So agents, to go full circle on the idea of standards, the same way that you feel gross if you haven't brushed your teeth, you feel icky if you haven't showered and you're in dress clothes and you're out working, the same way that makes you feel, that uncomfortable ickiness, monkey on your back thing, until you've been able to accomplish what you need to do, your standard, that's how you should feel when you haven't accomplished your business daily standards. Think about that. Consider it. What are going to be your standards that you're keeping each and every day? All right, guys, so standards is number 2. So number 1, you can accomplish more than you think you can. You can do hard things. Number 2, elevate, set and elevate, and have daily standards in your life, especially right now, because you can come out of this a different person, which leads directly into number 3, which is that I read a quote the other day, and I couldn't re-find it. I've got it somewhere on my phone, but I'll give you the gist of it. Essentially, the idea was, if you have not come out of this, now when saying this, meaning this stay-at-home order, this coronavirus situation, the 2 weeks of staying at home, or 4 weeks, or whatever it's going to be, if you have not come out of this, and it listed a few things, with either one of them was with having elevated your business. I think one of them was created your side hustle, or developed a new skill, whatever it was. If you have not come out of this having accomplished some of this stuff, the statement after was so epic. It said, then time has never been your problem. Your problem is discipline. Those are strong words. If you don't come out of this thing a better person, more books that you've read, stronger mindset because you've enabled yourself, strengthening your relationships with people around you, talking to people, whatever it might be, developing a new skill. I thought that was awesome. If you don't come out of this thing, think about that. Then time has never really been your issue. It's been discipline. And so my challenge to every one of you, and encouragement as you think about this, is to, number 3, is to take action. This real estate game, I'm just thinking in my head right now. I don't want to say that it's easy, but there are a lot of people with a lot of challenges from a health standpoint, from an emotional and mental standpoint, from a personality standpoint, who struggle greatly. That I see showing up daily, that I see making their calls daily, and succeeding because they're taking action and getting to work. So agents, as you look at your business, as you look at your life, and as you recognize that we are going through some hard times right now, some hard moments, but you can do hard things. You can do more than you've previously thought you could. I guarantee it. Just like the guy with the pull-ups. You have to set standards daily. What will be your daily standards? And then as you start to look at what your current standards are, you need to elevate them. Create them into the different mindset. Create into this different stratosphere of who you want to be, the way in which you want your life to be, and how you want to live in it. And then, of course, third, taking action. Don't allow discipline to be the thing getting in the way of you living your dreams. And how do you do that? Side note, accountability. Have people help you. My cell phone number, if you need it, is 801-859-6134. I'll give it to you again in a moment. I will be your accountability partner. Text me what you want to accomplish on a daily basis. I would love to hear from you every day. I would love to be following up with you. Again, my cell phone number, 801-859-6134. Tell me what your standards are. Let's elevate together and see great things happen. And don't hesitate to reach out to me if you need anything else. But agents, I am absolutely certain that if you will do the things that I talked about today, and if you'll create these standards, implement them into your life, and then go out and take action, whatever that looks like for you right now. But the phones are not broken. Make calls, communicate with people, talk to them, set a standard for who you're talking with, and watch things happen. I still need to get this, and I'm putting it on video so that I'm held accountable to it. I want to sit and do a prospecting session throughout this where people are stuck at home, and I'll do it live to the company so you can hear me calling people, just to show you that it can be done. There's nothing to be scared of. Rip the Band-Aid off and talk to people. So I'll get with Russ and get that scheduled. But guys, it is great to be with you. Thank you for participating daily and engaging with us. So grateful for all you're doing. Go out and have an awesome day today.